Hi, I'm Yiwen, but I'm also known as Tiny Girl Eats World over on Instagram, where you can find me sharing the best eats. I've traveled the globe to try different cuisines, from the hawker centers in Singapore to the local foods that Samoans eat. There is an amazing world of food out there, but in this series, I'm bringing you the world in your kitchen. So today we have Chef Rex de Guzman joining us, founder of Turo Turo London, a Filipino street food stall. So Rex, thanks for being here today.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
So what are you going to be making for us today, and why you've chosen to make this dish?
So I am making a traditional Filipino recipe. It's called chicken inasal. It's basically a marinated and grilled chicken. So it comes from the city of Bacolod, which is located in the western region of the Philippines. And I'm basically going to start by marinating the chicken.
So Rex, tell us a little bit more about this dish. So is it very traditional to the Philippines, and when would we normally eat it?
It's found in many restaurants. They have a market called Monocan Country, which basically means chicken country. So chicken inasal itself, it means to grill or to roast. So what you'd find traditionally in the Philippines is there's a lot of stalls that have like charcoal, so they have their barbecues and they're grilling all sorts of different meats.
And the ingredients that you're putting into the dish right now, are they very traditional marinade ingredients?
So the main marination is the vinegar, so it actually has that sour flavour.
Right.
So in a lot of Filipino recipes, there's a lot of sour ingredients. We have a fruit in the Philippines called calamansi. It's a very tiny fruit. It's kind of like a cross between a lime and a lemon. Unfortunately, it's very hard to get it here in the UK. So in my recipe, I'm actually using limes and lemons with the vinegar as well.
Okay, so we can have a good little substitute that we
Yeah,
can do if you want to make this dish at home.
I'm actually using the back of the knife here to bash the lemongrass. And what this does is this just releases the aroma.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to smell it already.
Yeah, you'll smell it straight away.
And have you spent much time in the Philippines then?
So I was born and raised here in the UK. I don't get to visit as much as I'd like to. The last time I visited was in 2016, where I traveled the Philippines for 3 months. And it was basically, the purpose of that was so that I could learn more about the regional dishes in the Philippines. So basically I've got in here at the moment, just to show you, I've got vinegar, so the coconut vinegar with some red onions, garlic, lemongrass. And then I've got the bay leaves, the peppercorns, and brown sugar. So that you just mix together. I'm going to give that a quick taste as well.
You always get to taste, right?
Yeah. Would you like to just have a taste of that?
Oh, yes,
You'll find
please.
that it is predominantly quite sour, but you'll find all those ingredients start to meld together.
All right.
And you can, in fact, like make this marinade well in advance so that your flavors infuse.
That's really punchy. You can really get all the citrus from that. Yeah, that's lovely.
So when I say Filipinos have that sour flavor profile, we usually use a lot of vinegar in our cooking. Be careful not to marinate it for too long. If you marinate it too long, what happens is the vinegar will sort of like turn the meat into mush, and so you do have to be careful with that.
Okay.
So I found that 4 hours is quite good. It's like just enough.
Good middle ground.
Yeah, good middle ground. Yeah. Cool. So you see, I got the chicken. Just spread it out. And then, got the achuete oil.
And does it have a particular taste to it, or is it just mainly the color that comes through?
I would say it's mainly the color. It does have a slightly, very mild nutty taste, but that's why we usually put the crushed garlic, just to add a little bit of flavor into the oil.
Yeah.
So basically what we've done is I've just got the pan nice and hot, and we've seared it on the skin side first. And we just want to kind of get those bar marks, get it start to caramelize. And you can see where the achuete oil started to give it that kind of bright orange tinge. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a little bit of salt, seasoning on top, and then I'm going to get this into our oven. So it's at 190, and that'll probably take about 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. So we've popped the chicken into the oven, it's been cooking away, and I can see we've got a new plate of vegetables out. So what are the next steps?
Yeah, so we are going to make what's called achara. So it's basically like a Filipino pickle. Usually we use like a green papaya, so it'd be like a shredded green papaya that's pickled in vinegar and sugar. So I use like a substitute of like mooli, so I use mooli and carrot as a kind of a substitute. Mooli is basically like your, it's also known as daikon radish.
So whilst you're doing that, is there anything I can do to help you?
Yes, please. So I'll get you to take the garlic and some ginger. I'll plonk it on your board there. And if I could get you to just like finely slice it and then just shred it as fine as you can. So we do have a lot of different influences from China, even as far as India. And that's mainly because of like trade. And one of the biggest influences in our cuisine, I would say, is the Spanish Empire. So basically the Spanish Empire colonized us for over about 300 years. And the Spanish Empire, so when I say the empire, this includes as far as Mexico. It also includes Portugal, and what they did was in Manila, they used the trading ports to connect basically the east with the west. So that's why. So the Philippines is kind of like a middle ground for like trade. We got an exchange of ingredients. So an example of that would be things like guava and cacao. So chocolate from Mexico. That came to the Philippines, and then from China we'd get things like noodles would come from China.
So Filipino food isn't as famous as some other Southeast Asian countries in the UK, such as Thai or Vietnamese food. So what do you think is the kind of barriers to Filipino food becoming a little bit more well known here?
Yeah, I think the main thing is the educating of the cuisine. I think that if we can start to have businesses, or we have even influencers who can just start educating people about Filipino food and where its influence is, that's going to give like a basis of understanding. There's a few restaurants now in the UK and in London that are pushing Filipino food, and I think if we have a few more in there, we're going to start generating that interest. And I think especially in London, in the UK, people are always looking for a different kind of cuisine now, new adventure. So it's a really good time to kind of innovate and try new things.
And what would you say your favorite Filipino dish is then? If you had, apart from I guess chicken Inasal, if you wanted to really pioneer a dish in the UK, what would it be?
There's a childhood dish that my mum always used to make for me. It's called pancit palabok. So pancit is basically like noodles. So it's a noodle dish with loads of different toppings. It's got like a prawn sauce. And then it's got toppings like pork belly, it's got smoked mackerel on it, it's got egg on it, it's got lemon, it's got spring onions. So it's kind of like one of those really great dishes to just mix all in one. So
that's right now garlic, ginger, carrots, the mooli, and some chilies.
Yes, that's correct.
And some shallots, is that right? There we go.
Right, So I've just added some salt in, and this is going to break down the ingredients for the achara. So it's just to soften everything up and to bring the water out of it. Cool. So Yuan, if I could get you to help me with the pickle liquor for the achara. This is a very basic pickle liquor method that I use. So it's 300 grams of vinegar, 200 grams of sugar, and 100 grams of water. So this short grain rice I've got here it's already been washed. I've washed it a few times and strained it off. And we're going to do the Filipino way, or shall I say the Asian way. It's a method that I'm sure you know yourself. And basically I'm going to measure the water into our rice. So we're going to pour enough in until it just covers about an inch, kind of about the line of your finger.
What? Yeah, that is how my dad taught me to cook rice, just to the first line of your finger.
So I'm going to measure it now. I think we're good.
Great, so our rice is nicely coming to the boil over there, and we've got some new ingredients in front of us. So what are the next things we're doing here?
So we're going to make the basically a glaze for the chicken Inasal.
So Rex, obviously you grew up here eating Filipino food that your family made. But when you went over to the Philippines, how did that compare when you had the food actually over there?
One of the biggest things that stands out for me with the Philippines is definitely the vast amount of like seafood. The seafood and then the different amounts of fruits that you can get out there. I remember when I last went when I visited for 3 months, I went to visit my tito's place. So my tito is like my uncle. So it's my sister's, I believe my sister's oldest brother, and we went to visit his house, which is like situated far in the farmlands. He would do things like just ask us if we want coconut, and he'd literally go climb a tree that's like literally outside of his house.
Oh, incredible.
And just like climb a tree, and he must be like in his 70s now. So he would go climb cut a coconut off, a young coconut, and then we'd drink the water,
yeah.
and then we'd scrape out the meat from the inside.
That's my
and have the
favourite bit.
dessert. Yeah, it's always the best bit.
Such a lovely memory that you have with your uncle.
Yeah.
And honestly, I hope that when I'm 70, I can be climbing coconut trees like that.
Yeah, I mean, I never have the guts to do that myself, so yeah, he's pretty brave.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have a little peek at the rice. And
Let's have a look.
What do you think?
Nice and fluffy.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much ready to go.
Tell us a bit more about, your restaurant, and have you made any plans to start it up yet?
Yeah. So Tura Tura is my little baby. It's a business that I started from. Oh, I've always wanted my own restaurant. So during Tura Tura, it was kind of like a starting point for me. So as a chef, I started off pioneering Filipino food by doing pop-up restaurants. And then eventually I built up the confidence to go into the street food stall. So Tura Tura, it actually means, in Tagalog, which is the main language in the Philippines, it means to point. So it's like an expression.
Yeah.
So it's used in the Philippines for a general term for like street food stalls, but now my vision is to now take it down the restaurant route.
And so are these two sauces typically served together for you to kind of alternate which one you're going to dip into?
Yeah, so it's kind of a preference thing. You would find these two dipping sauces quite commonly in Filipino restaurants that serve chicken Inasal, but these dipping sauces are used all over dishes in the Philippines, so it's quite a common flavor that you would find. It's kind of like our ketchup. It's our version of a ketchup.
Fair enough, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. We'll just have a couple of tastes. Don't know if you want to trade. My one's going to be definitely quite hot.
Okay.
Shall we swap?
And I'll
have a
swap this
taste
back
of
for
yours.
you, for you to taste what I've made.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I like the little bit of heat that comes through. A little bit spicy, but I presume you don't have to bombard with loads of.
That's why they call it sausaw, and it's usually you would have your own saucer on the table and you would dip the meat or the rice in. So yeah, cool. I think that's good to go. This tastes really good, nice and balanced. So I think that's our sauces ready.
So our chicken's been resting. It looks lovely and shiny. We've got our sauces all made, and looks like we're about ready to plate up.
Yes, we are indeed. Yes. So. We've got the banana leaf here to start, so we're going to bring it all together on there. Decided to put banana leaf, a little tribute to the Philippines. Banana leaf is used as plates in general there, so I wanted to put that in there. And actually, one thing that I learned from a chef is he did teach me about bringing out the oils, the natural oils in the banana leaf, and it makes the leaf shiny. So usually what we'd do is we'd toast this over either your charcoal barbecue or a gas stove. This time we're going to use a little blowtorch, so we're going to give that a whirl.
Wow, yeah. So shiny. It's made such a change to the leaf.
Yeah.
So I've really enjoyed exploring Filipino food today, and I cannot wait to tuck into this.
Yeah, me too. Let's go.
Let's do it. Right, so just a little bit of everything. Is that how we're eating it?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna start with some rice.
And I should probably mention we eat with fork and spoon because we're always using it to put everything together on one spoon.
This is perfect for this is the way I eat. All right. That is so good.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
You get such a nice tang from the pickle.
Yeah.
And you get the contrasting, char from the actual chicken itself.
Okay, lovely.
Really like how spicy that is, but that's because I love spice.
Yes. Yeah.
And then again, if you don't like spice so much, you can just use less spicy chilies.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, this is stunning. I really like it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.